The Pope was visiting New York City. It arranged for him to have a limousine and a chauffeur. Though the Pope says to his limo driver, "When I was a young man, I was a gearhead. I bet this baby has a lot of power under the hood. You know, I never have driven a limousine. If you would oblige me, I would certainly enjoy driving a little while." The driver himself, a good Catholic, didn't dream of questioning the pontiff's authority. So he got in the back seat and the Pope took the driver's seat. Off they go onto the highway, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour. Woo, 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 woo. The Pope looks in his rear view mirror and sees the flashing lights of a trooper. He pulls over. When the policeman approaches the limo, the Pope lowers the window. Taken aback, the officer excuses himself. "I need to call this in. I'll be right back." He calls the chief of police and says, "Chief, I just pulled over a limo for speeding, and there's a VIP. Well, let me guess. You pulled over the mayor of New York City." "No, sir. It's a bigger VIP." "Really? What, did you pull over the governor?" "No, sir. A bigger VIP." "What, did you pull over the president or something?" "No, sir. I got a bigger VIP." "Bigger than the president? Come on, I don't believe it. Who did you pull over already?" "Well, sir, I don't know, but he must be really important. You wouldn't believe who is driving him." Isn't that great? After that joke today, I'm Mr. Big Stuff. Reverend Mr. Big Stuff. Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
Mr. Big Stuff, released in 1971 by Gene Knight. You know, Mr. Big Stuff was about a guy that's so full of himself he doesn't care whose hearts he breaks. My first question for you today is it possible to have a religious community, a denomination, an organization, or society, and that instead of creating Mr. Big Stuff, makes it clear that each and every one of us is big stuff? If you're game, turn to someone near you and tell them, "You big stuff." "Oh, you big stuff." The next question for you is, how can we tap into power, share it, grow it, so that it energizes and lifts all of us? By the way, my sermon title mentions religious authority, peer support, and shared ministry. The peer support aspect, being companions on a journey of faith, is one way we can build and share power. I've decided to leave that for another day. Today I'll focus on the two aspects, religious authority and shared ministry. We UUs have made a start on power sharing, bringing the noble experiment of democracy to religion. We aim to develop caring and kinship with all and for all humanity, for all life. We aim to lift and energize everyone. Remember the Cheers theme? Where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. Great idea. And I think we can do better. Cheers was fiction, a bar on TV. A religious community can offer a framework, a way to nurture souls and help heal the world. When we put into practice honoring the worth and dignity of every person, a great power is unleashed. When we see people as precious, when we provide an experience of being held in community that nurtures, challenges, and accepts, we begin to heal the effects of a society that turns all life into commodity. We, you have experienced a little bit, at least, of the beloved community. Our democratic process has given us a taste of shared power. Our congregations have tried to become places where people are cherished, where people are treated more as important beyond money or achievements. Even thinking about it, can you feel the power? So, what kind of faith is this anyway? When Jane Doe or Kalila comes here for the first time, what message will she get? Will she find reason for hope? Will she find something that offers a way to put the fragmented pieces of our existence and our world together in a meaningful, integrated whole? When Kalila has the courage to attend for the first time, she will be checking us out to see what we have to offer. Maybe she will wonder, who's in charge here? Or, if she's more progressive, she might think it like, I wonder who makes decisions here and how they get made. If she likes it here, she might feel a sense of belonging, or she might wonder if she would fit in here. When she or any of us ask, who's in charge? This is a religious question. If we were to look to Orthodox Judaism, we might hear a message something like, God is large and in charge. Your job is to obey and follow what he told us to do. If we look to conservative Christianity, we might hear that because of man's wicked, rebellious nature, we would be destined for an eternity of suffering unless we accept Jesus as our personal Lord and Savior. If we looked to New Age spirituality, we would likely hear an emphasis on divine power being within each of us. We would be directed to get over our limiting thoughts. I regret that I am oversimplifying each. My point is that traditions give different directions for accessing great power. I almost don't care what people believe if they could harness the power to create a world where children are no longer trafficked and abused. Wherever the power comes from, I want to see it used to transform society from exploitation to caring, from war to peace. So from ecological devastation to stewardship. I want to see power and creativity unleashed to make life wonderful across the board. When I grew up, I heard Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young sing, "We can change the world," and I believed it. I still believe in power to the people. If humanity could figure out how to cooperate and provide for the needs of the collective, how to focus on the collective, things would get better immediately or quickly. When anybody manages to keep love and hope alive in themselves, it changes the world around them. When a congregation brings peace and justice into this world, that is an awesome power. I mentioned hell. The threat of eternal punishment has been used effectively by religious authorities to subjugate people and prevent progressive change. Some people think that fear is needed to keep us from acting upon our wicked nature. Our you forebears said, "Hell no!" Not literally. Our universalist tradition said, "What kind of God are you worshiping anyway?" Not literally. If God, the force, intelligence, or whatever created us, is infinitely powerful, and if it's loving, then we don't need to fear that she's going to torture us forever for having been born in the wrong group or having the wrong belief. Tyrants use fear to keep us from discovering our collective power. To offer a humanist version of this universalist doctrine, I would say that if nature created us, if over millions of years life has evolved complex nervous systems that enable us to become conscious, surely life will someday enable a consciousness of unity. Life which has expanded and expanded until now will continue to grow into something that gives the power to experience togetherness, peace, and endless beauty. Religion is a medium that informs people to shape values and create a worldview. Religion says, "This is how we do it." And it also says, "This is how we do it if you want to be a part of us." Authority is the power given to individuals in order to teach, maybe coerce, or corral people to continue the belief system, the stories, the rituals, and ultimately a way of life. Our tradition comes out of the Enlightenment period, which valued reason, proof, facts, evidence, and science. So we value reason, questioning, and discussion. We appreciate, sometimes, the value of questioning authority. And we have a different way to answer the essential religious questions that I mentioned, like who's in charge, or what's in charge, or what is important or sacred. Why is there suffering? What can be done about it? What makes life meaningful? With the structures and the wisdom of our tradition, and in the accepting embrace of the congregation, we find support to work those things out, those questions out for ourselves. Our tradition does not hold any one book as the repository of all the answers. We don't have a pope or bishops. The Protestant doctrine known as the priesthood of all believers meant that all had access to God, that no priestly mediator was required. This asserted the equality of all Christians and allowed for the development of the use of democracy in church matters. Fast forward to 1961, the merger of our two denominations, then the counterculture of the 60s that took questioning of authority to new levels. After then Watergate, public trust in authority continued to erode. Many UUs came to believe that we could have a religious tradition without hierarchy. We didn't want anybody to tell us what to do. Many times there's even been resistance to designation of leadership, of people as leaders. In the name of rejecting religious authority, many people came to think UU religion meant you could believe in whatever you wanted and no one could tell you you did something wrong or was a sin. That might be half true. In many congregations, it became difficult to exercise power to protect the congregation from abuses inflicted by individuals. You know what I'm talking about? You can get your mind wrapped around some of those things. Perhaps we went too far. Perhaps in rejecting religious authority and whatnot. Perhaps it was an adolescence that we needed to go through. One thing is for certain. We have only just begun to explore all the possibilities. There are new models for religious leadership, religious authority, for lateral empowerment in our congregations, new models that have not even been thought of yet. Who knows what's possible? One concept that has returned us to practices that place trust and authority in leaders, religious leaders, is the concept of shared ministry. In this view, it's the job and the property, ministry is the job and the property of the congregation. Every leader, from the treasurer to the grounds committee chair, is authorized and held accountable for specific tasks, set of tasks, that enable the congregation to fulfill its mission, do its ministry. Beyond material or specific tasks, ministry is about the care, guidance, and tending to soul matters, the faith and spiritual well-being of members, and the soul of the congregation. Developing and supporting religious leadership is one of the most important tasks in the congregation. A congregation that is thriving naturally attracts. People want to be part of something that is life-giving. It's important to help people find the right level of responsibility, something that challenges, supports growth, and enables fulfillment in the service to the mission of the congregation. I define leadership, I'm using a definition of leadership that means seeing to it that things go well within a given arena. One need not be upfront or dictating orders in order to be someone who is seeing to it that things go well. Everyone can be encouraged to share in the responsibility for carrying out the mission and the ministry of the congregation. Another tool for power sharing is rotation of leadership. As soon as we accept a leadership position, we could begin to look for a good candidate to be our replacement. You don't want that job forever.
No, you don't.
Often, people need to be groomed, trained, and gradually prepared to take on more responsibility. Appreciation is another thing that makes leadership attractive. You almost can't have too much appreciation. Maybe the wrong kind, but not too much appreciation. Acknowledgement of someone who has performed a valuable service, that is good feedback. Lastly, I believe we must consciously strive to overcome the culture of a society that consistently puts profits before people, that values individual advancement, that focuses on competition and exploitation are the norm. We are driven, everybody seems to be driven more and more to market, sell, promote, and people become commodities to be bought and sold. The first of our principles, inherent worth, is a UU antidote, honoring the sacred within each person. It's a spiritual practice. Can we learn to appreciate and enjoy each other as we work together to create, maintain, and nurture our religious community? Yes, we can. I hope. Shared ministry means everyone doing their part to cultivate an environment where values are practiced and appreciated. Having intellectuals who are capable of critical thought and highly intelligent conversation, that's an asset. It's a good start. In this day and age, having intelligent, respectful exchange of ideas from people with divergent worldviews, that would be a miracle, I think. No small miracle. However, more than intellect and reason are needed. Ministry cultivates awareness and appreciation of awe, humility, gentle care for the fragility of priceless things, cherished by all people, peace, loyalty, honesty, tenderness, interdependence, and that which transcends all boundaries. How can we cultivate an environment where the sense of sacredness is known by and for every person? How can we build power together? In all our affairs, we can bow in reverence to the sacred in each of us. Keep a religion of covenant. Remember that we need each other. Help each other to remember Together, we learn, and we will continue to learn, how to see and honor the sacred. We will keep learning, we can keep learning, how to create and share power.
Thank you very much.